Well, good morning and welcome back to Cityline. Guess what I have with me? I have an assistant tooth fairy whose given name is Maria Lou, and she is with Delta Dental, and she's here to talk about what every child needs to have a healthy smile. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you so much.
First off, tell the tooth fairy we said hello. We know that she is very busy, but we're so grateful that she has assistants to spread the word.
Yes, I will tell them. We actually have several tooth fairies. This may be the best kept secret in the world, but they all live at Tooth Fairy headquarters together.
And they get along
so well.
Yeah, and they've been around for a long
Forever.
time. They have been.
It's pretty amazing.
So when we think about those tooth fairies, those assistant tooth fairies, and also the tooth fairy, if we were to ask them, what is the state of children's oral health in Washington?
Yeah.
And also here in Pierce County, and what is the program goal for Delta Dental? What would this assistant tooth fairy say?
Yeah, the good news is that in Washington state, we've seen numbers trending in a direction that we want. So in our most recent statewide survey, about 50% of kids were getting tooth decay or cavities by the time they were in third grade.
What?
I know, 50%. And that number is even higher in certain minority groups or low income areas. The best news of this is that Tacoma's numbers are actually trending even better than the statewide average.
Okay.
Which is what we want to see. And we're anticipating our next survey coming out next year and hoping to see those numbers even getting better.
I love that.
Now, we have a lofty goal at Delta Dental of Washington, and that is that we have a cavity-free Washington. So no cavities in the entire state of Washington. Kind of crazy, but we think it's attainable by starting kids young with healthy oral habits.
Exactly.
And that's why we've created this
So
program.
assistant tooth fairy,
Yes.
what does a tooth fairy presentation include?
Yeah, so we created the Tooth Fairy Experience program, which is a free program that goes into classrooms and community events and teaches kids about oral health, but in a really fun and engaging way. They're about 30 minutes long because we know kids in our sweet spot, kindergarten to second grade, are busy people. They have busy minds, busy bodies. So 30-minute presentations.
30 minutes because of who they are.
Yes.
And do you ever come across kids who haven't heard of the tooth fairy, or perhaps their culture hasn't had a chance to find out about it yet?
Yeah, we use the Tooth Fairy as an educational partner. Our tooth fairies are going out to talk about how to take care of your smile. They're not talking about the folklore around them going into your homes at night.
No.
Just because there may be kids who aren't
and that's also
getting that.
a big
and maybe
mystery.
That's right. We don't want to break the magic. We can't tell.
We do not.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that tooth fairies, and we have one right here on our screen, and look
Yes.
at all of those kids and their teeth.
Right.
Wow, and this tooth fairy has a book, and she has amazing wings.
Yes.
She sure does. So you mentioned they travel. How
Yeah.
far do tooth fairies travel across the state?
Our tooth fairies and the Tooth Fairy Experience program travel statewide, all across Washington state, to classrooms far and wide. Our tooth fairies are, I think, perhaps the most amazing because they can meet children where they're at. My favorite story of a tooth fairy on the road is that we have a tooth fairy that uses ASL. And so our tooth fairies will go to schools that have children who communicate with ASL. And it's just really magical to see them able to communicate with a tooth fairy in their language.
I love
It's pretty
that.
amazing.
So you mentioned teachers who are so important.
Yes.
They're like co-parents.
Really.
How do they request a presentation?
Yeah.
And what kind of resources do you offer that these little ones can take home with them?
Yes. So teachers can go to our website, thetoothfairyexperience.com, and fill out a really simple form. And then they'll be contacted by our head tooth fairy handler from the Tooth Fairy headquarters. And they'll have a tooth fairy that can come in person or do a Zoom. We also have a ton of pre-recorded resources on our website that teachers can download and use in their classrooms because we know how busy they are. Every classroom that participates in the Tooth Fairy Experience, whether it's virtually or in person, gets our storybooks.
Turn that around so we can get a good shot of that.
Gets our storybooks. We worked with local authors and illustrators to write these. It's pretty amazing.
That is
We have
local
3 of
here
them.
in Tacoma authors. Or
Local Washington State. Yes.
Excellent.
And we have 3 different books. So we gift these to every classroom, and then every single kid in the classroom goes home. And again, this is all free. Every single kid goes home with their own oral
Hold that
health kit.
still. There we go.
And inside is a toothbrush, a toothpaste, a brushing and flossing chart, and my favorite item, a 2-minute Tooth Fairy themed timer, because you brush your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes.
Okay, that is
Right?
a
So cute.
timer.
Yeah.
This tooth fairy is very, very smart because many of the people who will be using these beautiful kits may not know how to tell time yet.
Yes.
Or maybe they do,
Yeah.
but boy, how great
And
to
who
have a
doesn't love
timer.
a sparkly green,
Yes.
timer.
It takes it all also off of parents
Yes.
to be in there going, well, it
Yeah.
wasn't long enough, go back in.
Yes.
Because this needs to be a joyful, fun
Yes.
experience. Because let me tell you something. One of my favorite things about my childhood was the tooth fairy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So who do we need to thank in these last few minutes?
We need to thank parents
Yes.
because they're really our first line of defense for oral health. We're spending 30 seconds sparkling fun, 30 minutes with these presentations, but parents are at home in the trenches making sure their kids are brushing and flossing. So we have lots of parent resources as well on our website. And then we also need to thank our partners, the Arcora Foundation, the School Nurses of Washington organization, and the Washington State Dental Association for partnering with us to create this amazing program.
Yes.
And then obviously our amazing teachers who
Absolutely.
bring this to kids all around the state.
All right, so give the tooth fairy my best.
I will.
And give all of the assistant tooth fairies a hug from me.
I will.
And thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you
today.
so much.
All right, we have got Green Tacoma Day in the house at the Cityline Comfort Cafe. Ooh, and they brought a cedar tree. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back after this quick break.